finally coming out of a huddle at the far end of the bridge.
Captain, Klee and I have conceived a possible means of combating this creature.
Through its mind, Captain Kirk. Spock says he can electronically transmit mental energy into space through your sensors.
But even if that's true, Spock, how could any of our minds possibly be a match for anything so vast and limitless?
A point well taken, Doctor. But a single mind is not the ammunition we're speaking of.
Spock thinks our one chance is to attack the Gola not with an individual, but a whole culture.
Explain, Spock.
A composite burst of mental energy, Captain, composed of all the minds of every member of Klee's race down through the ages. The melding of millions of minds into one concentrated channel.
Spock, you're space happy if you believe that's even conceivable, let alone possible.
On the contrary, Doctor, it may be impossible in terms of science, but we're not talking about using science here.
Magic.
Exactly, Captain. I've already shown Klee how to use our computer banks as a storehouse for the millions of mental images he will be conjuring up.
I suggest we back away from my consort now and give him room.
Conrack was accustomed to seeing Klee's wizardry, but we were not. As his magic drew upon the mind streams of millions of his ancestors, the rest of us stood back in awe. It's fantastic, Spock. I would never have thought such a thing possible.
Just how old is your culture, Conrack? How much further does Klee's magic have to reach?
The exact date of our origin is unknown. We do know our oldest ancestors came from a far-off planet many eons ago. A planet called Earth.
All of us share the same look of amazement. Earth, he said. Could Conrack and Klee be from our very own planet? Before we could explore the topic further, however...
The Gola is still advancing and closing fast, sir.
Klee!
He's ready, Captain. The counterattack will begin now.
Klee's hands were gripped around the terminals of the sensor panel. His entire body was surrounded by a shimmering aura as he transmitted an incalculable energy charge through space, composed of millions of separate mental bursts, the sum total force of Klee's entire culture down through the ages.
Report, Sulu. The Gola's charge is slowing, but it isn't stopping him, sir. He's still coming.
In heaven's name, it's not enough. It's just not enough.
I am afraid our race was not old enough, Captain. Our culture's history has not amassed enough mind power to overcome the Gola's sheer mental strength.
Spock! What the blazes is he doing?
He's grabbing the terminals of the sensor panel.
He is glowing with the same shimmering aura that enveloped Klee.
Oh, my God. I understand.
We all did. Spock was picking up where Klee left off, using what was left of the magic spell to force feed his culture into the sensors.
I admire your first officer's courage, Kirk, but how can he hope to succeed where my consort failed?
The Vulcan race is one of the oldest in the galaxy, Conrack. Odds are it's far older than your race or ours.
That's right, now that I think of it. Vulcan history goes back so far, Spock will have billions of more mind streams to draw from.
Look, I think Spock's reached his limit.
He must stop. Too much mental energy will kill him.
Then it happened. All at once, Spock released the sum total of Vulcan mental energy amassed through millions of years, transmitted through our sensors in one massive charge. And although the invisible charge did not show up on our screens, the result did.
Look! Spock's done it! The Gola is backing away! It's trying to flee, but it's slowing down!
I believe that last energy burst paralyzed it.
That is correct, Conrack.
Spock, you're all right?
Somewhat exhausted, but feeling satisfactory, Captain. And you, Klee?
I'm fine. Now that I know we've finally beaten the scourge of our race.
Now that we've got the Gola where we want it, what do we do with the blasted thing?
I am addressing that problem at this very moment, Doctor.
Explain, Spock.
In transmitting that mental burst to the Gola, I came in contact with its mental center, Captain. What we would call its mind. I have just completed a circuit that will allow all of us to hear what it is thinking at this moment.
Incredible.
I never could have guessed such a thing.
Spock, that sounds like the crying of a baby.
Very astute, Doctor. Gentlemen, Gola is a mere infant. Not a baby in the human sense of the word, but a baby nevertheless. It was spawned in the heart of a star sun millions of light years away, and its far-reaching orbit has really been a methodical search for its parent.
The sun that spawned it.
Yes, Conrack. The fearsome menace your people dreaded is merely a child lost in the stars. Our job now is to locate its home.
Captain's log, Stardate 6453.2. After using a long-range tractor beam to pull Gola behind us for several days, we finally released it moments ago. As we orbited the star sun, Spock's calculations had pinpointed as the parent. All of us watched the screen in eager anticipation.
Instruments show the Gola is now stationary in the core of the star sun, Captain.
Thank you, Mr. Sulu. I think it's safe to say the baby is home.
Well, Spock, I've got to hand it to you. As a galactic babysitter, you're not happy.
Spock and Klee, something bothers me.
Captain, we returned them to their home planet. With Gola gone, they'll begin to progress normally now. I don't see a problem.
That part about them coming from a planet called Earth, I can't help wondering if it was our Earth. But there are no historical records of an ancient civilization vanishing from Earth that long ago.
Curious. When I took over from Klee at the Sensors, I picked up brief mental images of his very first ancestors. They were evacuating a sinking continent in spaceships.
Spock!
Tell me, Captain, isn't there an old Earth legend about a civilization that sank beneath the sea called Atlantis?
Atlantis? Mr. Spock, would you be surprised if you just solved one of the greatest mysteries on Earth of all time?
Surprised? Hardly, Captain. Somewhat pleased, perhaps.
Spock, never mind.